Welcome to the Ganz PixelMaster video training series. Today, we will be introducing you to the PixelMaster's IP setup menu. Using a mouse or remote control, select Menu and then select System Setup. If a login screen appears, that's okay. It simply means that you have password check enabled, as I do here. Enter your password. In my case, it's the factory default of 1, 2, 3, 4, and press OK. You should now see the System Setup menu. Click on the network icon in order to enter the network menu. The menu consists of the following submenus: IP Setup, DDNS, Email, Network Status, and Security. Today, we will be covering the IP Setup submenu. The IP Setup submenu is where all the network information for the PixelMaster is configured. Now that we know the location of the IP Setup submenu, let's get familiar with its functions. There are two ways of configuring the network settings of the PixelMaster embedded NVR. The first way is through Dhcp, whereby the PixelMaster reaches out to a nearby router and requests the router supply the required IP, gateway, subnet, and DNS information. The second way requires manual entry of the IP, gateway, subnet, and DNS information. When the Dhcp option is checked, all network information is auto-given by a local router. When the Dhcp option is unchecked, all network information requires manual entry. To the right of the checkbox option is the Renew option, which is only available when the Dhcp option is checked. When the Renew option is selected, the PixelMaster will request the router resend all the network information. When the router resends all the network information, it is possible for the IP of the PixelMaster to update with a new IP address. If precautions are not taken prior to selecting the Renew option, the new IP address could lead to remote and local network access of the PixelMaster being interrupted. I'm going to remove the Dhcp checkmark and go through each of the available options. Double-click on the IP address field to launch the virtual keyboard. The PixelMaster uses the IP address as its unique network identifier when placed on a local LAN. Once you have entered the IP address, click on OK to confirm it. Double-click on the gateway to launch the virtual keyboard. The gateway represents the IP address of the device through which Internet access is given. Internet access is given either through a nearby router or through a nearby modem. Once you have entered the gateway IP address, click on OK to confirm it. Double-click on the subnet mask to launch the virtual keyboard. Without getting technical, think of the subnet mask as a street name, and the IP address is the house number on that street. If the network knows the street name, then finding the house or device is easy. Once you have entered the subnet mask, click on OK to confirm it. Double-click on the first DNS server field to launch the virtual keyboard. The Domain Name Services, or DNS server, essentially translates a web address into an IP address. An example would be where I type into a browser www.mypixelmaster.com. The DNS server converts that name into the public IP address for the location of my PixelMaster. Click on OK once the first DNS server address has been entered. Double-click on the second DNS server field to launch the virtual keyboard. The second DNS server is simply a backup in case the first server is busy or unavailable. Click on OK once the second DNS server address has been entered. The Autoport function, which uses the UPnP protocol, enables the PixelMaster to tell a local router to add or remove a port in the router's port forwarding configuration. The Autoport update can be set by clicking on the up or down arrow to either on or off. The Autoport status will inform you as to whether the nearby router properly supports the UPnP protocol and if the router and PixelMaster can communicate. The RTSP service port is programmable to any required port number. Double-click on the RTSP service port field to launch the virtual keyboard. Once the required port number is set, click on OK to confirm it. To the right of the RTSP port number is the Autoport forwarding and delete port options. If the nearby router supports UPnP, then these two functions can add or delete the port number to the router's port forwarding configuration. The web service port is programmable to any required port number. Double-click on the web service port field to launch the virtual keyboard. Once the required port number is set, click on OK to confirm it. To the right of the web port number is the Autoport forward and delete port options. If the nearby router supports UPnP, then these two functions can add or delete the port numbers to the router's port forwarding configuration. The max TX speed option allows for bandwidth throttling of the PixelMaster. The PixelMaster has a max bandwidth of 64 megabits per second, followed by 32 megabits per second, 16 megabits per second, 8 megabits per second, 4 megabits per second, 2 megabits per second, 1 megabits per second, 512 kilobytes per second, or 256 kilobytes per second. Once the IP setup configuration is complete, click on Apply to confirm the changes and then click on Close to exit back to the system setup. Finally, click on Exit to return to the live view. Well, that completes our training video for the Ganz PixelMaster IP setup menu. Thank you for viewing this video and keep an eye on our website for more to come.